मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय. Lead us from the unreal to real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Namaste everyone. Today we have assembled here in the Vivekananda Hall in the memory of late Sri Surrendra Paul. This 28th day of December is marked by his name in the form of a lecture here at the Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Gold Park. And to do the honor, of course, we have on the stage revered Secretary of this institute, Srimad Swami Suparnanandaji Maharaj, Professor Partha Sarothy Sengupta, and known academician who will be delivering the Surrendra Paul Memorial Lecture today on the topic Where to Care Homo Sapiens with Empathy. Also, we have Dr. Shamul Kumar Lahiri, IP Goenka Chair, Indological Studies and Research, RMIC. We will begin our lecture with the Vedic chanting to be done by the monastic members of the institute.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Shanno Mitra Shangvarunaha Shanno Bhavattaryama Shanno Indro Brihaspatihi Shanno Vishnururukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatumam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Bhadrang Karnebhi Srinuyama Devaha Bhadrang Pashyemakshabhirya Jatraha Sthirairangai Sushtuvagunshastanubhi Vyashema Devahitayadayuhu Swasti no Indro Vriddhashavaha Swasti no Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastaksho varishtanemihi Swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Yashandasam Rishavo Vishwarupaha Chandobhyo Dhyuritat Sambhavuva Samindro Medhaya Sprinotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Sharirang Me Vicharshanam Jiva Me Madhumattama Karnabhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmano Koshosi Medhaya Pitaha Shrutam Me Gopaya. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.
I would now request Dr. Shyamul Kumar Lahiri to read out the short life sketch of Sri Surrendra Paul and also introduce our venerable speaker, Professor Partha Sarothy Sengupta.
With pranams to revered Swami Suparnananda ji and speaker, and we welcome everybody present here. Not only the speaker, Professor Partha Sengupta, as well as the distinguished members of the audience who gathered here to listen to the Surrendra Paul Lecture 2022, were entitled Wired to Care Homo Sapien with Empathy. First, I'll briefly make some introductory remarks regarding late Surrendra Paul and the speaker. It won't take much time, actually, short. A few words about Surrendra Paul. Surrendra Paul was born in a respectable family in 1935 in Punjab. Passed his senior Cambridge examinations from Vincent High School in Mussoorie. Later, he went to MIT in the USA for acquiring knowledge and training in engineering and technology. Returned to India in 1958 and joined the APJ Group's family business and became the chairman of the group in 1982. But he passed away only 8 years later. However, notwithstanding his intense involvement in industrial and business activities in his relatively short span of life, Surrendra Paul was extremely keen to promote India's ancient values amidst the clashing ideologies of the time. In remembrance of his great interest and ideas, chair named Surrendra Paul Chair of Indology has been created at this institute to encourage young scholars to study defined branches of Indology. Now, a few words about the speaker. Professor Partha Sarothy Sengupta is an accomplished management consultant, a master and Neuro-Linguistic programming practitioner, a corporate mentor, trainer, and academician. He received his BA Honours in History from Stephens College in Delhi, MA in Economics from Delhi University, and Behavioral Sciences specializations from XLRI Jamshedpur. They're all well-known institute. He has a long history of professional accomplishments and recognitions. For example, he was a professor of behavioral sciences in KITT University in Odisha, member of Odisha KIT University's brick and mortar team in building KITT and KISS universities in Bhubaneswar. In addition, he was a lead resource for KISS indigenous schools vocational skill training programs by Coal India, Mining, Geological and Metallurgical Institute of India. Professor Sengupta held various senior managerial and consultant positions in CSC Limited, OMAM Consultants Limited, Haldia Petrochemical Limited, and PricewaterhouseCoopers Limited. His various professional engagements have also included liaising with the London Electricity, ICL UK, Government of India, Asian Development Bank, World Bank, and Gandhi Labour Foundation at Puri. Now, regarding the talk, Surrendra Paul lecture 2022, you will hear from him in details. Just a couple of lines actually I'm mentioning to prepare yourself as a preparations. In this lecture, Professor Sengupta will present his views on the directions towards which the humankind seems to be approaching in recent decades. With rapid advances in technology, artificial intelligence, automation, there has been a paradigm shift in the thinking and lifestyle of the people worldwide, particularly among the people of post-independence India, which is not desirable at all, for India at least. At the end, he will also discuss some possible ways to change the course. This is a thoughtful paper written in a fairly cogent manner. And thanks again to all members of the audience for your interest in this lecture. Thank you.
I would now request Professor Partha Sarothy Sengupta to deliver the Surrendra Paul Lecture 2022.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. And I've been to Bhubaneswar Ramakrishna Mission quite often, but Swamiji here, connecting up with him on a certain assignment, led me to be here with you. Many of you may be here for the first time. Many of you may be here for years. But we are all well-wishers of Ramakrishna Mission. My talk today would deal with, as Dr. Lahiri explained, various facets of our development, especially post-1947. It would deal with philosophical issues. It would deal with artificial intelligence. Most importantly, it would deal with people like you and me, because each one of us right now are going through processes which are paradigm in nature. One day we are thinking one thing, the next day we are seeing another erratic behavior, the third day we are seeing, for instance, today, I saw at the Times of India a photograph of 3 or 4 Bengali girls yesterday having ice cream, winter. I was reminded of this message a friend of mine called Avai Shukla sent me a few days ago, where he was talking about ice being brought over from America by one Mr. Tudor in the 19th century, mid-19th century, because there was no ice here. And it was original ice from America. It took him about a month. He put on 100 tons. And finally, when he landed, about 70 tons was there. And quickly, the Britishers lapped it all up. And then they put up an ice factory. At that time, I was reading that thing, the Hooghly River was freezing around this time, and they could convert the water into ice from the Hooghly River. And today, we have, in December, girls and boys having ice cream in Calcutta in this winter. And yesterday was the hottest day in 50 years. Which leads me to believe that something is wrong, and we don't know what's happening. Maybe every day that we are talking, you're dealing with life and moving around with life and, solving one problem after another and bottleneck and that and smiling and watching movies and coming to a talk like this, it's all passé for us in the sense that we do not register the accelerated rate of growth that we are going through. So my talk today would deal with MEST, matter, energy, space, and time. It's all compressed and it's shooting up, and we don't realize it. And I'll show you through some videos and some slides that I've prepared so that you and I are on the same platform, so that when we leave this hall, we go out with some feeling, genuine feeling of empathy at least for the mankind, and fraternity, which means brotherhood, which is missing. We see it missing in our political leaders. We see it missing in our corporate leaders. We see it missing amongst our student leaders. We see it missing amongst ourselves, within ourselves. So exponential growth, we are living in exponential growth where 100 years growth in the last century is equal to 25 years growth in the 21st century. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. Where biological changes of our organs, we're never aware of it, but our organs are changing biologically every 7 to 8 years. I mean, the pancreas or the liver that you have is not the same pancreas that Mr. Banerjee has been carrying since he was born. Mr. Banerjee is the honorable registrar of this place. The pancreas changes. The liver changes. That is the pattern in our body. But the pattern doesn't change. What I'm going to share with you is that the pattern of the universe, the pattern of the planets are not changing. It is us who are destroying it. I'll deal with sociology, which as you know, involves how societies emerged. I'll deal with ethology, of how societies and humans biologically evolved. I will deal with ethnology, how societies and communities relate and differ from one another. And I will deal with instincts, which is the innate releasing mechanisms, which we call IRM, based on which we are reacting most of the time, and not even with intelligence, let alone consciousness. That's the problem with today's excessive technology, excessive provision of our wants, not our needs. This is the era of dynamic, unpredictable eco-diversity also. We have 8 billion population in the world. We have a changing climate pattern. The wet bulb temperature is going to kill many of us, especially in Bengal. And it's being stated in the newspapers, but few of us are experiencing, like last summer, I experienced a concrete heat coming into my body. It was a different kind of heat, different kind of summer. I've never experienced this in Calcutta before. I was reminded of the collapse of previous civilizations, human civilizations like yours and mine. The Roman civilization, the Mayan civilization, the Egyptian civilization, the Easter Island civilization, 500 BC, 200 BC. And I was reminded of the Byzantine civilization, which is the only civilization in the 7th century AD that could survive. Why? Because they dissipated the energy. They disbanded their military. They moved into the communities and encouraged the communities to thrive, to cooperate, which we are not doing today. We are not allowing our communities to become more aware than they should. ऊपर में होता है. The sewerage should go there, that should be there in some place, some etc., etc. But actually we are not into the social practice which Vivekananda had been stating. We've forgotten Vivekananda. That will be another issue. I'm grateful, I'm dedicating this talk of mine to my two founder directors of XLRI, Father Tom and Father Magrath, both Americans, who taught me the essence of business communication, who taught me the essence of behavioral sciences. And I'm dedicating this also to my grandson, Rohan, who is in America now. Yesterday my wife was telling me, he went to a school out there and he solved some problem, he's class 8. And the teacher's mathematical problem. And the teacher asked him, how could you solve this problem? So he didn't mention how. He just said, I knew the answer. So today, I'm not being able to be as smart as Rohan, because maybe I won't be able to give you the answer, but I'll be able to trigger you in some measure about the future. The world is reaping the fruits of liberalization, privatization, and globalization, which we call LPG. Between 1800 and 2022, we have seen many changes. But between 1940, since the Second World War till now, we have, at least the seniors here, we have experienced those changes which we never expected. Scientific, yes, but behaviorally we have not become better humans. Science is based on skepticism. My talk will deal with science and Vedanta also. Science is based on skepticism and needs experimental proof, always. It has not accepted the Vedanta notion that all is consciousness. And this is the contradiction that is happening within all of us, unconsciously or consciously. Vedantic truths are arrived at by personal experience. Normally through tapasya and meditation, but as with Ma Sharoda and Ma Anandamoyi, it's also spontaneous. Very few individuals come across spontaneously Vedantist. And there have been many others in the previous centuries, Kant and others, who have also Vedantists, but they didn't know. Kant could define phenomena, but he couldn't define noumena. What is phenomena? The known. What is the known? The man, that is you. And what is noumena? The unknown. How can I find it? He didn't realize it. But Vedanta has told us that the noumena is within you, is the Brahman in you, that makes you tick, that makes you more conscious, that makes you more empathetic with what the scene is around you, that makes you involve yourself in social practice, which Vivekananda, Aurobindo and others have been saying. That is what we are missing out on. We cannot compare Vedanta with quantum physics. It is a surrealistic approach. Science gives us powers to see what our senses do not. Vedanta gives us the power of seeing within, nurturing the unknown that is not unknowable. Why? Because that eternal Brahman, as I stated a while ago, it resides within you. Why is there so much unrest all around us? In all countries, the emphasis is on standard of life, not on the quality of living. Swami Ashokananda ji in Berkeley in 1955 had asked his American audience, why are you running after so much of materialistic goods? Because these are sowing in greed, lust, money, and all these issues. Get rid of them. Bring in some positivism into you. Today, from this podium, I can ask my audience the same thing. If there is rightness in the heart, if there is righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in the character. If there is beauty in the character, there will be harmony at home. Swamiji here perhaps is the best example I know of right now who can live up to this statement. Maybe my wife is the other person who's sitting out there. I just want to make sure my family scene is cool. So now let us go to file number 1. Now here I'm showing you a video. Please observe it.
Everything is ready for breakfast to come.
Can you come forward?
In the forest, spiderwebs proliferate in the very few open spaces available, exactly in the path of small animals. Exactly in the path of this little frog. At first, the Nephila seems confused by its prey's size and weight. The movements it detects tell the spider it's not a helpless insect. Better wait till its catch, whatever it is, gets tired. A few minutes later, the Nephila comes to collect its catch. There's no doubt the prey is tired. At first, it seems as if the frog has lost the battle. But the amphibian surprises its captor. Its skin is toxic. A shy bite unleashes an unforeseeable reaction. The spider moves away. If I can't eat the frog, then do I kill it? Do I kill it unnecessarily? Not even a spider will kill just for pleasure. The spider's choice is the natural one. If the prey isn't useful, set it free unharmed.
So the frog is free. Someone freed him. Are we freeing others the way the frog was freed? In our small, little approaches to life, with our neighbors, with Ukraine, Russia, America, the total global scene is one of anarchy, and we are part of that. This video is the appetizer which I am trying to use for our contemplation. Dr. Radhakrishnan had said, war and post-war periods tend to bring into prominence the value of the sciences, especially their practical applications. But, and this was post-Oppenheimer, post the atom bomb. But if we have to give largeness and wisdom to men's outlook on life and living, we should lay stress on the humanities. For my part, since coming of age around the 1970s, I have not observed largeness and wisdom in man's outlook, save in rare cases of Mother Teresa or Anandamayi Ma, who I've heard of. Are we in a techno-moral gridlock? This is the question I'm sharing with you. Gita is all-pervasive across the globe and the universe. Its vitality as a classic consists of producing men and women from time to time who confirmed and corrected deviations from their own experiences. But even the inherent strength of the Gita, especially since 1947 in India, in producing righteous men and women, post-1960s around the world and in India, is not. To the best of my memory, when I was a child, there was a chief minister called Bidhan Chandra Rai. We all remember him. But after that, I don't remember any chief ministers who have done anything for Bengal, anything constructive. Climate change is an output of man's wants, not his needs. It requires a global response. But there are no global machines available to formulate and implement adequately to penalize those who do not keep their pledges. Still less, but for rare Mother Teresa examples, today there are few to wire the world communities with empathy, let alone induce us to practice empathy. Maybe I'm going towards a stage where I'm asking you to induce empathy in your family, induce empathy in your community. Looked at this way, the lack of global system of governance is a lack of global social complexity. It is not a superabundance of the same. It is virtually a situation of global anarchy, of post-nation states that seek world dominations, not world governance, and you and I are living in this matrix. The Gita is an eternally imperishable scripture of wisdom, application to all ages. In 2022, are we the temporary and perishable elements? Our previous civilizations, due to lack of technology and relative digital space, reconciled the socio-economic non-antagonistic contradictions. Can we resolve our antagonistic contradictions today? The Gita enables rational humans to reconcile authentic consciousness and dogmas, not because we can, but because we must. Has the Gita been enshrined, been integrated into our lives since 1947? We are still in the post-Macaulay, 1835 period. We have forgotten what Brahma Vidya is, which is metaphysics, and we have forgotten what Yoga Shastra, ethics is. 25,000 people in India today know how to speak and write Sanskrit. I don't. And I regret that. The Gita converted the fratricidal struggle between the two sides into development of a spiritual message based on harmony of nature. Even the villains then accepted the values as they all faded away. Today, our villains refuse to fade from the screen, from the picture. They are there. They are what I call brute forces. They are in families, they are in communities, they are in corporates, they are in politics, they are everywhere. They are also doing social service. Has the Gita enabled us to remain focused in a manner beneficial to human society? Or are our current symptoms indicative of an old civilization dying and a new one emerging? And I'll come to the new one that is emerging because it's beyond our control. Can I have the second slide, second file? Here I'm sharing with you a biological human's life journey of self-discovery, yours and mine, where we grow up, self-image with vision, with feelings, with values, that's our behavior. We are in this process of traction and distraction. Now, what is traction? It's focused actions that move towards our goal, like the Bangladesh war. Focused action that move towards our goal. Focus is a competitive advantage, we control. Distraction, actions that move away from your goal, like we are living today. One is causal, that is cause and effect. The other is casual. Ho jayega. Is the emergent role of AI/ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning, to keep us in traction with our changing reality? That's what you have to decide as you move out of this auditorium. Can Homo sapiens be wired to care with empathy, is what I'm asking of you. Is this at all possible in the present circumstances? How do we learn? How have you learned? How have I learned? We have learned through active experimentation like Ratan Tata, J.R.D. Tata. We have learned with concrete experience like Rabindranath Tagore. We have learned through abstract conceptualization, Einstein. We have learned through reflective observation, ornithologists, bird watching. Have you managed, just one minute, have you managed your learning styles? Are you a filter or a sponge? Are you aware or are you already a cyborg? So which came first? These are the philosophical issues I'm sharing with you. Consciousness or intelligence? Science or spirituality? Can a futuristic non-biological machine argue it has feelings and emotions? Because that's what's happening. Going to happen very soon, if not already. Does the law of accelerated returns, MEST that I explained, mean anything in 2022? But who are you really? That's what we are always, deathbed, make on whom. That sort of an approach. Who am I? Are you conscious or are you intelligent? There's a difference. Is your survival at all a moral issue today? Is your survival a moral issue? Because it doesn't seem to be. Because we are accepting everything as it comes. That nationalism, that force that Swami Vivekananda and Aurobindo, it's died after 1947. So who am I? We need a new avatar. You and I won't do. And that avatar is coming. What are you looking at? St. Francis Assisi, long ago, he said, what you are looking at for is who is looking. He said it. So he was a Vedantist also. What you are looking for is who is looking. Must my circle of empathy be same as yours? Must my circle of empathy be same as yours? Will consciousness and knowledge be the new religion of 2040s? It's close. Okay? So these are the issues that I'm sharing with you so that you and I can be on the same platform, sort of, and move forward. Could we have the third file? I call this capability maturity. It has 3 slides. So, here I'm talking in terms of 4 stages of capability maturity of an individual, of a corporate organization. I've spoken with corporate people on this also, of political forces, political parties, the minds that are driving them. So here are these 2 yellow ones are unconscious incompetence and conscious incompetence. These are extensively in use, you will notice, through your own behavioral approach. I mean, you don't have to be a behavioral scientist to understand what I'm saying. We are all behavioral scientists actually. Because behavior irks us, others' behavior irks us. And we get emotional, but we don't rationalize. I'm asking you to be rational with me in this small magical mystic tour that I'm taking you. So primarily, you're like a wild elephant, a wanderer, kipto state. Also, you're stupid, you're dull, you're lazy, you're inactive, you're a disconnected person. You've noticed many such people around you. The other is conscious incompetence. This is a very dangerous scene. You're conscious about your incompetence, you won't do. You don't, that's why we have so many square pegs and round holes in our country. Because they are conscious that they have to do this. There's no responsibility with accountability. That's why the mess around us. They are fluctuating between a wandering wild elephant and sometimes very active consciousness. Lazy, but fully intelligent enough to willfully desist from work in family, community, studies and responsibilities. The fluctuating states are kipto, muddho, vikipto states. I don't have to expand. But these 2 are much, much less in use, and I would urge you to consider these as you move forward. One is the conscious competence, which is active mind state, slowly realizing the true nature of reality and illusion, becoming wired to care, efficient, effective, collaborative, conscious of self and teamwork. That's what is missing at every level of I'm talking in terms of India, forget the globe. Because I'm concerned about India. And unconscious competence, that is like a mother's approach to a child. It's competence, it's spontaneous. Fully aware, conscious person, self-realized, mothers with babies, Ratan Tata, Mother Teresa, Sadhguru, Ravi Shankar, fully controlled and contented minds. A realized person, which is the Niruddha state. Swami Abhedanandaji. We have assumed our scriptures, all of us, criticizing, all of us here. We have assumed the Gita. We have assumed the Bible. We have assumed and interpreted the Quran. Has science tamed us then? That's where we are heading. Should we indulge in social practice with a conscious reawakening? Is this possible in this unfolding and breathtaking digital entropy? Accompanied as it is by our bodily atrophy. We are decaying. These are the 4 contracting and expanding current human capability maturity levels as per my. Let's go to the next. So this is an integrated community behavior hub that I visualized. Only this can do it. if it is possible at all, under quantum computers, the age that we are moving forward to, with a humane approach, not a scientific approach, not an approach of a brute force, but an approach of reason and brotherhood and fraternity. And what is that? Where, given our failures in governance across the world, the 2023 wish list is an unstoppable digital world with a pro-planet total responsibility with accountability. Are we mentally alert? Can we do it? Imagine this Gold Park region, this Gorihat region, all under an integrated community behavior hub matrix. And there are others in Baliganj, in Park Street, in North Calcutta, etc. They are all connected by the quantum computer on skill development, on law and order, on legislative issues, on local self-government, on communication, tourism travel, education, sports, senior citizens, air pollution, industry, all our issues today, healthcare, yoga, medicals, transport, youth, mentoring, mentee, and media. Can this be an alternative? Can this be a solution, possible solution? Because integrated community hubs administered and under discipline and under quantum computer technology may provide us that thin possibility of something happening. Unless the market forces do not accept this, because the market forces control us. My wish list goes thus: under such an ICB hub and within within the domains of these are issues that you're familiar with, within the domains of centers of excellence like the Ramakrishna Mission, like the NASCOM, like FICCI, the future management concerns of the 3 M's, men, money, and materials, will be taken care of and brought into a workable model where investments on emerging technologies will be made 24/7 and monitor huge segments of demographic dividends will also take place. Where the system, ICB hub, will know where a mother is pregnant, where a senior citizen or 80 years old needs hospitalization, where mentoring is required. Cannot it be done under quantum computers? Of course it can be done. The only thing is we are not looking at it in this positive manner. We are only criticizing. Where our cool, and this is what is important, where our cool, calm, and collected persons of tomorrow, the younger generation, will resolve issues with autonomous analytics, edge computing, 5G, and 6G deep learning under AI and ML compatibility with the highest state of human existence. It's a dream, because if it is not turned into reality, I apprehend something else may happen. Because we live in an age where to produce, we need permission of men who produce nothing. Where money is flowing to people who deal not in goods but in favors. We are seeing men are getting richer by graft and pull than by work. I don't need to describe. The laws do not substantially protect us against them, but protect them against us. We see corruption being rewarded and honesty becoming a self-sacrifice when I am directing it at community betterment. My concept of working of ICB hubs is not based on platitudes, but on logical and penetrating wisdom of algorithms, ever created by the finest human minds that operate and run the AI matrices around us. Within the time and space of human capability maturity, I share this possibility in a world going berserk with insurmountable behavioral, climate, and environmental problems. Candidly, we do not realize we are on an accelerated matter, energy, space, and time trip. The efficacy of the integrated communities will all depend on the comprehensive synthesis, free and large, subtle and profound ideas of the members of the younger generation that we have today. Let's go to the next one. Alternatively, this is the scene which is emerging. This is the scene where we do not have humans, but we have an evolution which works through indirection that creates a capability And that uses that capability to evolve to the next stage. This is what has been happening. Like, for instance, the ice that I was talking of in the 19th century, which came from America. Then came the ice houses. And then came refrigerated ice. That's the change. Similarly, I'm talking in terms of an evolution process that you and I are part of, which has, through indirection, it creates a capability. Like the child in a mother's womb. This is what is happening, we are not aware of it. The child is growing in the womb, then it comes. Then the child grows up to be you. That is the capability. You have a different capability than your mother or your father. That's what I'm saying. Our epochs, our human epochs are going through such changes, and you and I are not aware of it. But we are going through such changes. So think origin of the species, think origin of the universe, origin of transhumanism, and that is what we are going through. We are getting into transhumanism now. When I talk to my children, they are on a very cyborg type approach. I mean, they are cool, they are happy. But like you cannot communicate so easily with the younger generation as my parents communicated with me. So they are different. You have to understand that. You can't criticize them. Because the future depends on them, not on us. We have to encourage them. So by 2030s, artificial intelligence will equal human intelligence. I'm not saying it, experts are saying it. The computer that we initiated in the energy company that I worked in Calcutta in the 1970s, there was manual at that time. My group was taken in and we had to convert it into computerized COBOL sheets and things like that. We had to train the people. All these regional office people, we had to train them, 5 of us. So that was one epoch, but today, 2022, it's another. We have the smartphone. My ex-colleagues are working with the smartphone. The electricity bill that my group created, the back end and front end and the billing and all that, that's all gone. So that's the sort of change I'm talking of. Try and understand that. Just don't live from day in and day out and criticize and things like that. I'm talking about such changes where by 2040 artificial intelligence will eclipse human intelligence. Then what will you do? You and I won't be here. Most of us won't be here. But what will happen when artificial intelligence eclipses my intelligence, and artificial is much more? What happens? HI and AI merge, universe saturated with processes and knowledge. That's what the future is going to be. And we are not aware of it. And we should be aware of it. So, what is the description of today's civilization? Ours is the most complex industrial VUCA and LPG scenario where survival of local communities is at stake. Communities and citizens are unaware of the changes that are coming in, of the gadgets, the implications of the gadgets. Smartphone, take it. But the implications of the social implications of the gadgets, we are not aware of. We are not being taught, we are not being mentored. Community development has remained stagnant. The education forces have also remained stagnant. In such situations, what do? Our civilization is primarily dependent on fossil fuels, but even those are at stake. Our civilization is now looking at renewable energy, at nuclear, at hydroelectric dams, but even those are unstable. Because of all these three mentioned, only the renewable energy, that is solar and all, you need large tracts of land. All governments are taking out large tracts of land for solar energy, as if the future will be solved. But they are not encouraging communities, like in this Southern Avenue area, to start their own solar energy in their rooftops. That is called social practice. And communities will do it. Because their life is at stake, their future is that's how you feel together. That's what the sign of a good leader is. A positive aspect of solar energy is that it can be shared in the community, but nobody is doing that. Basic oddity around us is that Homo sapiens, we are equating ourselves as a body-mind complex. We are becoming machines. But this is not our true dimension at all. There's something beyond man, the known, that Kant had identified, which I shared with you some time ago. Vedanta unknown to Kant always asserted this unknown is not unknowable. Why? Because it is your own self. At the population level, we have 8 billion people on the 15th of November 2022. 8 billion people around the world. India has 91% of its people in the age group of 0 to 56, where the age group of 0 to 14 are 350 million right now. The age group of 15 to 24, which is the primary working age group, is about 240 million. And the age group and the age portion of, say, 26 to 54 are 550 million. My question is, if you're looking at the future 10 years later, 20 years later, is the state government, is the government of India ensuring that these 550 million will be mentored and tutored to take care of those 230 million growing kids? In that situation, we are always living in the present. We are not foreseeing. We are not planning. And the people in the planning stage also, they are possibly, but at the local community level, this thing is not being shared. And that is the problem. Because when the push comes to a shove, what happened in the Easter Islands in 100 BC may be repeated. What happened? The Easter Islands were very alluvial islands. The Polynesian people began there. From 500 BC to 100 BC I'm talking now. Towards 150 BC, the fertility of the soil went off. So they couldn't grow the trees, which gave them the boats. They are the ones who discovered Hawaii Islands, following birds. Social anthropologist Tainter talks about it, about this civilization. And then finally they got overpopulated. And then they couldn't escape. What happened? How did they survive? If they did, they became cannibals. That's what the human being is. That human being is the same as these human beings. When the push will come to a shove, then you don't, already it's happening. At 12 o'clock at night, you're hearing bang, bang, and people drunk, and there's no discipline. There's no self-discipline. I'm not asking the government to discipline, but there's no self-discipline. That's our problem. So how do we educate it? Can we share the fifth one? This is a video I'm talking about. This is a behavioral therapy which they are working on in Japan. I'm not saying that we do it, but this is an example. Please. I mean, it's for you to ideate on it. There's how Japanese kids are showing their parents are working like this as part of their education. It's very forceful. So that was an example I shared with you to trigger your minds. It's not that we have to do it like this, but surely we can ideate on different ways of rearing up our children in a better manner. Many economists are also, neoclassical economists are now out of the scene now, because they don't, market forces will predict, will resolve. Market forces are not predicting or resolving. So there is one called Paul Davidson, who's not a neoclassical economist, but he's talking in terms of community. Let us look at community upwards. He's sharing with that, and I wanted to share that with you. Let's go to the next slide, which is intelligence and consciousness. Yeah. So here you have a scene of intelligence versus consciousness, the mother of all wars. It's begun. Where we have, I don't know if many of you have seen the movie called Cyborg 2 with Angelina Jolie. In that is primarily a fight between corporate octopuses and Jolie's freedom. That is the life you and I are used to right now, where privacy and autonomy are sacrificed at the altar of Google and metaverse. It also talks in terms of an entity called 23andMe, which is begun by a ex-wife of a Google founder, where it deals with chromosomes that contain our genome biotechnology, immediate output of results. You pay $99 and you receive a potential health hazard and your genetic predisposition. So this is the way we are heading. So based on pattern recognition, non-conscious algorithms, which is intelligence, are performing much better than humans. An urgent political economic issue is emerging, where human intelligence is becoming short in supply in the military and in the corporate, which is run by the market forces, which is run by the corporate houses, which is run by the bankers, the important bankers, who only can read rows and columns. They can't read beyond that. So what is the trend emerging? The trend emerging is that humans are slowly disintegrating as autonomous entities, much like the war Angela Jolie fought in that movie. And that humans are slowly but surely integrating into a huge global intelligent network. And that's where we are going. Can man the unknown be awakened? Can God realization occur at all in these circumstances? Because there is another mind-boggling power no longer lurking in the darkness except within our mental darkness. That is data religion and techno-humanism. These are making humans tiny chips under the umbrella of giant techno data systems. And what about our minds? That I leave to you. Today we are in a scene where if you experience something, you record it. If you record something, you upload it. And if you upload something, you share it. There are many other related issues also. The major sacrifices around the corner are involving large allocation of land and renewable energy and changing lifestyle patterns voluntarily, which is not possible. And in most countries, we have dysfunctional political systems under personal revenue improvement program-oriented leaders, which I call PRIP. Can these persons use quantum technology computers with safety is the question. Does the Vedantic approach provide us any solution? Do we need to transgress knowing more of man the unknown than man the known? But the world has long lost the meaning of fraternity. We are strangers to one another already. In India, do we view the Vedanta or Gita as historical pride or social practice and we mean it? But the fact remains, if we cannot scale common thinking and doing platform of capacity utilization, let us never assume Krishna or Rama will descend on the earth for rescue. I mean, at the beginning of the talk, I could have said that I have two idols for you. One is Rama's, the other is Ravana. Which one would you choose? Most of you will choose Rama. But if I were to say, Ravana's idol is golden, then many of you would say, I'll take the Ravana's idol. That's the issue before us. Eli Goldratt has a wonderful book written called The Goal, where he talks of convergence, consistency, and respect amongst teams. Are we sensitive to convergence, or are we as a race beyond redemption? So let's go to the next slide here, which I call Psychology of the Human Mind. Now, here you have, if you can read, out of my control, those people at the back, I don't know if you can see it. What I can control and what I cannot control. There are issues in my brain which are out of my control and I don't realize it. That's why I make all those mistakes I do every day. And there are issues in my mind which I can't control and I resolve them, and intelligently too. So what are in my control? Out of my control. Out of my control are my past, the future, the actions of others, opinions of others, what happens around me, what other people think of me, the outcome of my efforts, how others take care of themselves. These are out of my control. I can't control them. But I can control my boundaries, my thoughts and actions, the goals I set for myself, what I give my energy to, how I speak to myself, and how I handle challenges. Challenges we are going through now. Insurmountable challenges. And that is within my control, perhaps. How you control is your issue. Is it time then to go back to Swamiji's guidance for self-development to be drilled into our lives, albeit under ICB hubs, integrated community behavior hubs? Because basic management, as a basic management lesson, after all, what are basic management lessons? But another form of brain-based learning. As a race, can we retrain ourselves with empathy? These are vital questions because neurology has unearthed newer dimensions in 2022, including the fact it is not an organic system, but a cerebral system that takes us forward, takes the body forward. In 1897, Mr. Wilfred Penfield was born. He was the first neurologist, brain surgeon. He died in 1976. He became a brain surgeon out of curiosity. He asked himself, is my body only anatomy? In 1930s, he was asking. Many of us moving around today are thinking, my body is only anatomy. That is the capability, maturity level I'm talking of. These are vital questions, personal and individual and also family. Our bodies are integrated unit. Digital power has borrowed from this integrated structure to create the computer and the smartphones. There are 6.3, I looked into Google, there are 6.37 billion smartphone users in the world today, out of 8 billion. 6.37 billion. There are yet unexplored dimensions in our bodies, given our excessive wars, cruelties, and domination by brute forces. And is this the primary reason for domination of the world by the brute forces? How would Swami Vivekananda advise us if he were alive today? Because Swamiji had warned. He had forewarned, like Kalam did. The wise and the intellectual know 100,000 ways to make barriers which are not in the power of the ignorant to break. He said this in 1900. Such barriers the state, the banker fraternity, and the political classes have achieved. Given our climatic woes, given our education problems, we are living in borrowed times. This is a very critical cost-benefit question today. Will the emerging newer techno-humanist era eliminate these brute forces? Are we transcending humanism in a pattern inconceivable to our human minds? So let us see what the human mind is. Can we go to the next one? This is where the crux of my discussion comes. This is the future which is faster than we think. The 6 scientific epochs of evolution through indirection. Epoch number 1, where physics and chemistry were the formative years. Info in atomic structures. And you will surely agree, the 1940s, 1950s, etc., we built more on those. Epoch number 2, info on DNA and biology. Work on DNA evolves during this epoch, which is the one we have passed. Epoch number 3, info in neural patterns. Work on brains, neural patterns here, brains. Our brain's pituitary gland has 4 hormones, dopamine, and 3 others, I can't remember right now. But those are used by us, naturally used by us. Epoch number 4, information on hardware and software. Technology evolves, and we are on that stage, because by the end of this decade, reverse brain engineering will have been achieved. And that's when technology and the human brain start merging, and we create the robotics of the future. And this epoch 5 is the merger of technology and human intelligence, where technology masters methods of biology. They have already mastered. Where by late 2020, reverse engineering of human brain, as I said, and creation of matching non-biological system will occur. And by epoch 6, the non-biological intelligence will be shooting up. You and I won't exist. The universe will wake up. Patterns of matter and energy saturated with intelligent processes and knowledge will take over the scenario. And that is what is going to happen when the artificial intelligence eclipses by 2040s, the human intelligence. So these are the 4 epochs which I sketched like this, but I can't share it with you, unfortunately. So then comes the stage of brain implants. That means a nanobot will be implanted in your brain, and you will not be the same person. You will be programmed differently. It's like a heart transplant. It's like a liver transplant that we are used to, and we're so happy about. But a brain transplant will alter the consciousness factor of the human mind altogether, far, far away from our scriptures. That is when our brains may have also let us down badly. That is when we will realize that. But the diligent change masters, the brute forces who are controlling the market forces, they will be taking full advantage of this. And you may side with them already, or you may side on this side, or I would suggest we all unite together in this prochesta. Experts predict, as I have said, 2030s AI will be equal to human intelligence, and 2040s AI will exceed. The 2040s may be the tipping point of history. Ray Kurzweil, a famous scientist, fated by 4 or 5 American presidents. He's about 75. He's been fated by 4 or 5 American presidents, not for nothing. Because they know this man means business. This man will deliver. Because they know they are linked to Rand Corporation, to the Pentagon. Because they are interested in how to control the human civilization more than us. We are on scriptures, but they are on real time. So he's been fated by 4 or 5 American presidents, from Nixon to Reagan, even currently. So Ray Kurzweil affirms nanobots will be implemented in human brains by 2030s. These will raise level of consciousness, ability to solve problems with amplified intelligence through small machineries that live 24/7 in our brains. That is the beginning of singularity. And coincidentally, Swami Ranganathananda ji writes in his pamphlet, Man the Known and Man the Unknown, the nature of God, nature as God has constructed the human system with many powers, still has a major defect. And what is that defect? That man's senses and mind are going outward only. Our self-existence has rendered the senses so defective that we go outward, and hence we see the external and not the internal self. Only some wise men turn their eyes in and behold the Atma. I believe this weakness, this lack of humans who are unaware of the Brahmin residing within them, is the singular reason why singularity that is the merger of human intelligence and technology, is bound to occur. And Yuval Noah Harari, may have heard of him, he adds, Homo sapiens may have lost their stories altogether. In a world where more people die of eating today, more people commit suicide than are killed by war or terrorism, have humans become their worst enemies? In that, are we actually hurting ourselves, like Kalidasa, cutting the branch we are sitting on? So, we come to a situation where we have the human brain. Can we have the human brain here? Have we crossed it? I think it is slide 10, file 10. I'll just give you a glimpse into the human brain. This is the brain you and I are holding. Where the Gita raises the basic question at commencement, how can we live in the highest self and yet continue to work in the world? Only spiritual experience can provide existence of the spirit. The brain in times of peace and technology and science have made our lives hurried and uncertain. It has enslaved us to machines. The brain, it is the cerebral, the subtle, humane, not the organic system that controls our body awareness. Our generations look at life the opposite way, where organic system thrives. That's why we have so many restaurants all over Calcutta, every alley, hamburgers, pizzas and all that. Everybody's eating. Einstein had said long ago, there is no shortage of money in the world. There's shortage of happiness. Total unhappiness. Why are they eating like that? So much. I don't understand. You have to control your inputs and output. That's the most fundamental method for life and living, quality of life and living. M.B. Moser, who won the Nobel Prize in Physiology in 2022, she says it is the brain which is the center point of our future. 2022 Nobel Puraskar. That is where we are stuck, absolutely stuck. So may we go to the next slide, please. Manifestations. Science, is it a manifestation of the perfection already in man? Swami Vivekananda had said this on education. Will Swami Vivekananda's call for community development then be translated by our accelerated intelligence in the form of merger of human intelligence and artificial intelligence? That is the only way. Is this how the scriptures are working out? Is this how nature is working it out for us? Because of our inability to understand the person from within, artificial intelligence, techno-humanism is taking over the world slowly. You and I know, but we won't do anything. You and I can criticize, but we won't do anything. But is this the way the Gita is panning out? Is this the way nature wanted the world to be? Where human intelligence and artificial intelligence merge and create the sixth epoch where you understand where matter is flowing in the universe. Not myself or you, but matter, which is a mixture sprinkled with human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Will the projected machine learning patterns of activities and energy distributed in the universe and the planets with process and knowledge carry the weight of empathy of another kind? Because we have not experienced empathy. Empathy, when the French Revolution occurred, they said liberty, equality, fraternity. Those Westerners could understand liberty, equality, but they could not understand fraternity. Fraternity means brotherhood, to dispense with it. And thereby you had the other isms. Communism, socialism, liberalism. And we have all followed that. But only one ism is going to stay today. All those isms, everybody knows. From Z to Biden to everybody knows that. All isms have gone, only the algorithmism is on. Can humans finally be wired to care under expanded minds, primarily under non-biological intelligence? Non-biological intelligence. My intelligence will become, with the nanobot coming in, they have already begun. Elon Musk has already begun. Disabled, blind people and all, he's put in nanobot, and they are seeing. So when you and I are taken into a Gulag archipelago and said, okay, get your thing inserted, nanobots, then what happens? Will that be another form of evolution? Will that be the new form of evolution you are heading towards? Let's go. Is there another one? Questions, questions, and questions. This is the way my mind was working and I created these. Is this what the Vedanta philosophy indicates? Are all these alignments and manifestations of clarity? Clarity represents who? Saraswati. Clarity. Are these all manifestations and alignments, representations of clarity, Saraswati, purity, Lakshmi, and Shakti, Parvati? Is this how it is all going to turn out? Because we are imbeciles. We are useless. We have not been able to do anything. From within, we have not created a new culture. So can we momentarily reflect in a species, if as a species we are more conscious than, say, ants, mice, rabbits, birds, foxes and trees, that frog and that web, that spider or whoever it was? Are we more conscious than those people, or are they more conscious than us? That video I showed you in the beginning, it appeared he's much more conscious than us. Do we still have any chance of demystifying ourselves? Begin the journey of looking within. Begin to know the unknown, the Brahman in you, which is a God-sent gift, nature-sent gift within us. And we delve in isms, we delve in communism, socialism, Gandhiism, this ism, and we are, just external. We are not looking within. We are just going to do puja part and going to temples and all that. But what is that? Can we at all realize the value of being a human being like those animals are, like the tigers and the lions are in the wild, like the wildebeests are, like the giraffes are? Are humans the worst form of parasite on earth? Are mischievously intelligent, that consciously incompetent? A mischievously intelligent race, primarily with innate release defense mechanisms. You hurt me, I hurt you. But no consciousness. No consciousness at all. Neither you nor me. No real consciousness. Let's go to the next one if you have one. So, will the envisaged singularity be as great a victory of right over wrong as Yudhishthira's Pandava did unto Duryodhana's Kauravas? That's what it is working out to be. They fought then, and we know the story of Mahabharata and all that. But this is another Mahabharata that is happening. And most of the people in Mahabharata were not aware of it till the fight actually took place. They did not en masse come out when Draupadi was disrobed. They did not en masse come out when Duryodhana committed all those blunders and etc., etc. But when it came to war, so when it comes to the war, that means when the Easter Islands Polynesians, cannibalism, they started eating one another, then we will know. But then it will be too late. So where we can this is a possibility. There are three stages, I think. Where we bid adieu to concept of growth, being primarily materialistic comforts. You've had enough of that. You have enough of materialistic comforts not to want more, the respected audience in front of me. Can we progress from growth to progress, where we bid adieu to concept of progress being combination of disciplined materialistic comforts with corruption, with dishonesty, and with unethical norms, from growth and progress. And then can we, in the 21st century, emerging 21st century, can we go to a stage where we welcome growth and progress, but with success. And what is that? Laced with morality, humanity, and spirituality. Where this emerging scientific singularity will take us, we don't know. I don't know. But, and that, like I said, like my grandson, I don't have the answer. Would you? If you do, it'll be wonderful. So now let's go to the next slide. It's a final, second last slide. We've finished this, no? This one. Sir. This is something on empathy, which I want to register in you.
One evening, a gentleman came to our house and said, there is a Hindu family with 8 children, have not eaten for a long time. Do something for them. And I took rice and I went immediately. And there was this mother, those little ones' faces, shining eyes from sheer hunger. She took the rice from my hands. She divided into 2 and she went out. When she came back, I asked her, where did you go? What did you do? And one answer she gave me, they are hungry also. She knew that the next door neighbor, a Muslim family, was hungry. What surprised me most, not that she gave the rice, but what surprised me most, that in her suffering, in her hunger, she knew that somebody else was hungry.
That was Mother Teresa for you. And before I come to the conclusion, I would just like to ask you, request you, to consider the value or the valuelessness of what I have shared with you and try and share it with others, because this transhuman is emerging. It's already there amongst us, but it's going to change. Can we go to that slide where I have this one? This is a picture of our ancestors and our future. This is what is going to happen. Us. Transhuman emerging. That is what is projected. This is done by an artist called Vander Mose, who's known to me. He's somewhere else. But he sent this to me as part of this structure I was creating for you. And well, that's it, gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. Questions? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know there would be questions. Fantastic. Come on.
In the very first slide, we saw that the spider letting go of the frog because he is not a great capable of it and just cutting a section of the corporate. Similar to that, we find a thing called the circle of life being entitled as a song in the film Lion King. So if this particular song or a song like this thing, which carries the message of conservation and biodiversity preservation, can be made a theme song for the earth by the United Organization or Individual Organization, someone like that? Can it induce and the process of empathy in the mind, the circle of empathy, which we are all looking for to conserve the nature,
Yeah, so how do you want to do it?
If the thing can be made that like that, the referendum.
How can we make it? When can we make it? When can we make it? I'm asking you.
My question there.
Well, let's make it. Creative people have to get together. The problem is creative people are not getting together. It means a lot of effort. But if creative people, not just to make a movie, something with like Satyajit Ray, Ritik Ghatto, like this gentleman, Amitabh Bachchan came a few days ago. And I heard him talk. He was regretting in his own way, sophisticated way, the fact that, he didn't say it directly, but we don't have Satyajit Ray, we don't have Mineral Sense, we don't have Ritik Ghotoks anymore. We have different Ghotoks. That's the problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
He has entered into the area of complete Advaitic vision of spiritual realization. That is not your or many of your forte. So I congratulate Professor profusely because he has initiated so many ideas into his lecture, and he has given even the future of human beings. We are leading to where? What is our fate? He has made it, he has just stated that even artificial intelligence can rise above our consciousness. I tell you, that is an impossibility. Artificial intelligence is still a matter. It is produced by men, maybe superior quality of men, but still it is produced by men. And whatever we produce will be subject to death and birth and subject to material possession. It is the fate that every material object will share. So the basic thing is that we have a body which we feel in the waking state. We have a mind which we completely isolate during dream. Because at that time, body is lying on the bedstead, and you come out of your mind, maybe neurons, this and that, in the form of that, you may explain it in terms of science. But it is mind. What is the nature of mind is even a subject of controversy, I tell you. Nobody can even decipher what it is all about. Now, this mind creates a new world. You suffer it, you enjoy it. And then, sometimes you dream such dreams that your body is lying dead on the room, in the room inside, and you see that your relatives are shedding tears, sitting around your dead body. It is a possibility. And there are people who dream such dreams. That is the best of all dreams. Why? Because at least in dream you feel that through your mind's eye, that I am not the body, I have a body. Just like I have a specs. Not I am the specs. I keep it here. When I die, we say, we give up our bodies. Say dehotyag koreche, say shorit chereche. Body remains here, but he is not here. Who is he? That is consciousness, which we feel is a deep sleep state. That is beyond the grasp of mind and intellect or intelligence. That you first understand. So he has pointed out so many ideas, but never he has given us any concept of despondency or despair that we may suffer. He is always enthusiastic, encouraging all of us to go beyond. and go beyond, the limit is there. In the deep sleep state, be one with our consciousness. You have no way to categorize it, quantify it, even to explain it. Your consciousness, state of consciousness, you cannot explain to others. Because you do not even know. How can you know? That is a state where there is no mind, there is no intelligence. That's why we are all one in deep sleep. And we are different when we have bodies. Even we are different when we have minds. These bodies, minds interact, they change. So they cannot become the truth within. That consciousness was always present in the waking state, in the dream state, and in the deep sleep state. Deep sleep state means dreamless state. That is it. So I can tell you one funny thing, of which you are aware, but you may not be knowing it. You are aware, constantly aware. So the plural form of I is we, which means two eyes, duto ami, amra. Can you find out two eyes? Ami duto ami pabo? Can you get two amis? So two amis will always comprise one ami, not amra, not we. Even if you add 300 crores of eyes, you cannot get we. I am unique. I am unique in that sense, not physically speaking. Or if you want to take it like that, even physically also, I have no second form. That's it. So, aham brahmasmi, I am that. From that point, I am in all. But all in me, you, can we find out two yous? Similarly, tattvamasi. By advancing the similar logic, I can come to this conclusion, the tattvamasi. So both are addressing myself and addressing yourself. Aham brahmasmi tam tattvamasi. That means I am in you, you are in me. Therefrom comes empathy, perfect empathy. As the Holy Mother, Sarada Devi used to say that same thing. Long ago, she explained it to an inquirer. He was a big person, very intelligent person, became a sannyasin. He was Joginma's grandson, Swami Nirlepanandaji. We heard that he stood second in MA in history, and Ramesh Chandra Majumdar became the first. So intelligent a person, and he asked Holy Mother, because he has been brought up by Mother and Saradanandaji themselves in Holy Mother's residence at Bagbajar. The Mother, so I have to converse with my friends who are atheistic. They're atheists. And it becomes very difficult to tell them about you, about Thakur, about Swamiji, this and that. Well, so they have no faith in God, they have no faith in Atma, that's all. ঈশ্বরে বিশ্বাস নেই, তো তাদের বাদ দেবে কেন বাবা? তো তাদের ক্ষুধার বোধ আছে তো, দুঃখের বোধ আছে তো। তারা যখন 3 দিন খেতে না পায় না, তাদের সে কষ্টটা তারা বোধ করে, বলে হ্যাঁ করে। খেলে পরে আনন্দ হয়, ঠিক হয়, সুখ হয়। তা ঠিক আছে বাবা, তাদের বলো যে তাদের যে কষ্ট, অন্য একজন যখন সে বলে এসে তার কাছে যে আমার 2 দিন খাওয়া হয়নি, তা সে কি তাকে ফিরিয়ে দেবে? অন্যের দুঃখটাকে নিজের দুঃখ বলে, অন্যের সুখটাকে নিজের সুখ বলে মনে করো, এবং তাহলেই সে যোগী হয়ে গেল, যোগী হয়ে গেল। Mother Teresa just said this. I have shared my food with the person because his need was not less than mine own. That was the philosophy. You have to realize that. আপনারা নিজেরা খাচ্ছেন, ভালো করছেন, অ্যাফ্লুয়েন্সের মধ্যে আছেন, অল রাইট, ইট ইজ অল গুড। But it is also equally good that the peoples living around you, in your locality, they are suffering. They do not have sufficient food to eat. They do not have sufficient means to teach their children, treat themselves also. তো হচ্ছে তো, বারবার তো দেখতে পাচ্ছি। And even being intelligent, they could not put their children in schools and colleges. So it is your responsibility to bring about changes in society, to restore equity or equality. It is not the function of the state, I tell you. It is not the responsibility of the state. It is your duty. The quintessence of the discussion that he made just now is this, that you have to spend lavishly on eradicating poverty around you, giving medication to the people you live with, and helping them have proper education with equal care you have been doing for your own children. Thank you.